Hello, queens. I'm finally back at y'all with a long-awaited client tutorial. I hope you all had a wonderful Father's Day and Juneteenth, but y'all already know it's time to jump back into this client content. Today, I'm going to be showing y'all how I created this cut crease, and without further ado, we're jumping straight into the video. As you can see, I'm starting it off by cleaning my client's face. Now that her face is all clean, we're just going to proceed with her eyebrows, and I'm outlining her brows using my Nicka K brow pencil, and I believe this is in the shade Black Brown. While I'm outlining her brows, I want to go ahead and say thank y'all so much for getting me to 200K subscribers. I really appreciate all the love and support, and I just hope and pray that we continue to grow, queens. Y'all are phenomenal, okay? Make sure you tell your sister, your friend, your cousin, your auntie about this channel, because I'm going to try to keep rolling out this client content for y'all. So as y'all can see, we have one brow outline. I'm going to go ahead and outline this one. I like to outline both brows before I fill them in, just to try to get them as symmetrical as possible. Now that both brows have been outlined, I'm going to start filling in any sparse areas. To fill in the front of her eyebrows, I'm going in with another Nicka K pencil. This one is in the shade Light Brown, and I'm just doing little upward hair-like strokes, and then I'm going to go over it with my spoolie just to make sure that everything is nice and blended before we move on. I'm going over her brows with my I.envy clear eyelash glue. This is going to help me lay the brow hairs down in place. And to mold them down, I'm going to be using the spoolie end of my pencil. To clean up her eyebrows, I'm going to be going in with these two Nicka K concealers, and they are in the shades 02 and 07. First, I'm going in with the shade 02, and I'm using this to clean up underneath her arch. I love for the arch of the brow to be highlighted. If you don't really like that look, then you can just go in with one shade around the whole brow. But me personally, I love to create some dimension. So as you can see, I'm just going in with that 02 concealer, and I'm going to try to get it as clean as possible underneath that arch. Now that I have that concealer all blended out, I'm just going to be going in with that shade 07, and I'm going to be using it to clean up the remainder of the way on the top and the bottom of my client's eyebrows. Now that both brows have been cleaned up, I'm just going to go ahead and blend out all of this concealer. And since I love to bring the brows closer together towards the front, I always make sure that when I'm blending out the concealer, I use whatever concealer is left on my brush and I just go in between the brows so they don't look too much like a unibrow. And I also press some of the concealer throughout the front of the brows just to lighten them up. Taking whatever excess concealer is left on my palette and I'm applying this throughout her eyelids. This is going to be our eyeshadow base for today's video, so make sure you try to blend it out as evenly as possible. Before we step into eyeshadow, I'm going in with some of my Dermablend Translucent powder, and I'm going to be using this to lighten up the front of her eyebrows and to also set some of the concealer in place. To start this eyeshadow look off, I'm going in with my Fit Me pressed powder in the shade Truffle, and I'm going to be using this as my transition shade for today's eyeshadow look. And I'm just pressing this onto her eyes using this blending brush from Shop Miss A. And when you're blending this onto the eyes, you want to make sure you bring it up all the way to the inner corner of the eye because we will be doing a cut crease, so you want to make sure that you will be able to see those shadows after we cut them. I'm taking a darker brown shade from my Jaclyn Hill x Morphe palette and I'm just applying it to her crease using this Wet n Wild taper blending brush. I'll try to have the shade name in the description box down below, but I'm just going to be alternating between the brown and my transition shade just to make sure they're blended. To cut her crease, I'm going in with my e.l.f. Camo Concealer in the shade White. When it comes to doing a cut crease, I can be a little bit of a perfectionist. So whenever I'm doing a cut crease, I like to start low and just build up my shape. I like to make it as round as possible, and I get really close to my client's face, y'all, just because I want everything to be as precise as it can be. But if I had to give you any advice, I would just say start low and take your time, and once you're satisfied with your shape, just go ahead and blend that concealer out. I watched this makeup show on Netflix called Glow Up Academy, and they gave out a tip for doing cut creases. They said if you struggle with one eye, whether it's the left or the right, you should always cut that eye first, and then it'll be easier to match up the other eye. I personally have never tried out this tip, but it sounded pretty solid, so I decided to include it in this video. As you can see, we have two nice and clean cut creases. Now I'm going to go back in with some of that Fit Me powder, and I'm using it to blend out the edge of my cut crease. I'm going in with this HypeBeauty highlighter, and I don't remember the shade name, so I'll try to have it in the description box. But as you can see, it's like this champagne colored highlighter, and I'm going to be pressing this all over her cut crease. To apply the highlighter to her eyes, I'm using this e.l.f. eyeshadow brush. This is my favorite brush to use when it comes to pressing on eyeshadows. If you are a makeup artist, I recommend that you try it out. But after I have this all pressed on, I'm going to be going in with an adhesive. I normally don't use adhesives when I'm working with pigments, but I wanted the eyes to be extra sparkly, which is why I decided to go in with this one. And the adhesive that I'm using is discontinued. That's why I don't show it on camera, but you can always use clear eyelash glue. The pigments I'm going in with are from AshleyLeeCosmetics, and first I'm taking the color Silver Milky Way, and it's like this white pearlescent shade, y'all. It is so pretty, and I'm taking this on majority of her cut crease, and I'm going in with the shade Constellation, and I'm pressing it lightly on the end. I didn't want to use too much of Constellation because it's more of a silver tone, and I wanted this to be just a sparkly white cut crease. I'm going in with my black Wet n Wild liquid liner, and I'm using this to line her eyes. I decided to do a wing for today's look. I ended up doing the other eye off camera, so this is what it looks like once I have both eyes lined. Now we're moving on to the face. As you can see, I just have a generous amount of my Pond's moisturizer applied to her face, and I'm going in with my damp Real Technique sponge, and I'm using this to press the moisturizer into her skin. I'm going on top of that moisturizer with my e.l.f. poreless putty primer, and I'm just pressing this into her skin using that same Real Technique sponge. I'm going to color correct around her face using my Nicka K concealer in the shade 07. For her foundation, I'm going in with my Fit Me foundation, and it is in the shade Classic Tan. I'm going to highlight her face using my Nicka K concealer, and I believe it's in the shade 02. I'm going to be going back in with my foundation brush, and I'm using it to blend out the concealer. I'm gonna go ahead and contour around her face, and to contour I use my Juvias Place foundation stick. The shade name will be in the description box down below. As you can see, I applied it a little low on her cheekbones, but if you apply it low, just blend upwards. And I'm also gonna be contouring her jawline. Now that I have her face contoured, I'm going to go ahead and contour her nose. When contouring the nose, I just like to go in and draw a line down each side of the bridge of the nose. I try to take it as closely to the center as possible because I want that nose to look pinched, okay? Now I'm going back in with that brush, and I'm using it to blend out the edge of the lines that I created. When I'm finished blending out the nose, I like to go on top of it with my foundation brush just to try to make it a little bit more seamless. And now I'm just cleaning up the edge of my liner. Make sure that you do not forget this step, y'all. We want that eyeliner to be as crisp and precise as possible. And then I'm just going to go ahead and blend out the concealer underneath her eyes using my damp Real Technique sponge. I'm going in with my Morphe loose powder in the shade Banana, and I'm using it to set the concealer in place. I'm taking my Black Radiance contour palette in the level light to medium, and I'm using it to set the contoured areas of her face everywhere except for her nose. Now I'm going in with my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the level Dark Deep, and I'm using it to set the remaining areas of her face. I'm taking some black eyeshadow on a small detail brush, and I'm using it to line about halfway onto her waterline. Now I'm just going in with some dark brown eyeshadow, and I'm using it to smoke out her lower lash line. I'm going back in with my foundation brush, and I'm using it to sweep away all of the powder. So one of my lovely queens left a comment on my last client tutorial, and she let me know that she's watched multiple videos and I still have not dropped the name of my setting spray. So I just want y'all to know that I do read the comments, and this queen is for you. Today I'm using my I.envy spray to set my client's face, and all y'all have to do is let your request be known in those comments, honey, and I'll try to get it delivered within the next video if I can. But as you can see now, I'm just going in with lashes, and I cut them to fit my client's eyes off camera. While her lashes are drying, I'm going to go ahead and highlight her face, and I'm actually using this eyeliner brush to highlight down the bridge and the tip of her nose, just to get it as precise as possible. Okay, y'all know that I'm the precision queen, but now I'm just going to go ahead and highlight her face. Moving on to the lips, I'm going to outline her lips using this cream foundation from Ruby Kisses. Now I'm going in with this nude liquid lipstick, and I'm applying this to the center of her lips using this eyeshadow brush. I had ran out of disposable lip wands while I was recording this video, which is why I decided to use this brush, but it still got the job done, okay? If I do say so myself, those lips were very blended. Now I'm just going in with this small lip brush, and I'm using it to blend out the edges, and once I have them all blended out, that'll be the finished look, and we'll be stepping into the grand reveal. Make sure I'm in focus. You already smiling. You ready to see?
Yeah. Oh, that is beautiful. Oh my gosh. I should got this for my baby shower.
Girl!
This is so beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna take my pictures.
Okay, period. Okay, queens, we've made it to the end of the video, and as you can see by my client's reaction, this tutorial was another success. If you enjoyed this look, please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. A link will be in the description box, and I promise you will not be disappointed with my content. We're on the road to 300K now, okay? So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and make sure you stay tuned for my next one. Bye bye, queens.